and weaken on the backline at the same time. So we'll take a look here and see what some of their picks are and how they choose to go after LG this time, as a Robin ban comes out first for LG.
Interesting. LG nor ALG ban Robin, take Robin in game number 1, and now that LG's in the first pick, they say, yeah, we don't want to deal with that. And this is more of a throwaway ban. For being in that first pick position, you have a lot of options open to you. You dictate the pace of the draft. And so this is LG saying, we don't want to play against this because it's going to mess with our composition, even if we don't want to pick it.
RDO is banned out, as well as Scotty. Those two ones are the ones that are no surprise, but that's an excellent point you make there. When your first pick, you really can't force ALG to be the ones that have to ban meta stuff like RDO and Kukulkan, and now ALG has a lot of options like Terra, which we didn't see make it through last time. That's something that could easily get picked up here, and there it is, locked in, no surprise.
Jeff loves this god and does so well on it, no surprise at all, as you mentioned. Camazot's a good answer, though. As we mentioned, Mask didn't get a great start in game number 1, but his late game was phenomenal and did his job very, very well. This is a god that, given a lead, can do that in the early to mid stages and not just in the late, but that's with a Nemesis. So ALG committing early here, really scared that LG was going to take that Nemesis, and this is going to be Camazot's likely in the solo lane.
Yeah, if Oceans and Met Yankee weren't afraid of bats before that last game, they definitely are now after the way Mask played it, so ALG take it away. But Barracuda wants that run back on the Hu Yi. He played it very well. Every team fight, it felt like his ultimate was perfectly positioned to get the most damage out of it, or just say you can't come into this area, as Thor also locked in for LG.
I was kind of expecting Camazot's Hu Yi there, because Met Yankee's a phenomenal Hu Yi player, and that would have taken it away from Barracuda. ALG must have really felt like Mats was going to go for the Nemesis if they didn't take it right there.
Medusa, the last pick for ALG here in this pick ban phase, so that's going to go into very likely the ADC role, but you can see Medusa sometimes in the mid as well.
I think that might be mid. I mean, Met Yankee could definitely play it in the duo lane, but Oceans, this was his god whenever he first came into the SPL. Yeah. And in the mid lane, it does a lot of great work. You want to talk about AoE damage, Medusa does it better than most other hunters.
Yes.
Could really help out for Allegiance in the areas they were lacking in the last game.
ALG do ban out Nox and Osiris, so ALG definitely respect that Osiris pick, and then LG taking a focus on the Neruma, who played the Khepri very well, but it looks like they're not afraid to give it back to him because they banned Ganesh and Fafnir.
Going to be Raijin in that mid lane for Ocean, so Medusa will be for Met Yankee in the dual lane, and that's what I like about ALG. They've got a lot of flexibility in their picks and bans, similar to how Trifecta, they could pick a bunch of stuff, but you still don't really know who it's going to be going to until you're loading in.
That's because Trifecta and ALG used to have some of the same parts, right?
Yeah.
They used to have Aurora and Weekend in there, and they were a terror in the pick ban phase, as LG does take the Morgan, and then Chalk as well. Talk to me about Chalk.
Another day, another Chalk pick.
And I can hear him laughing in the back, by the way.
Where I just don't Chalk is the most okay character in my mind. Anytime someone's like, give me Chalk, I'm like, okay. Yeah. It's okay. That's all I can really say about it. Chalk does not excel at anything except for pushing the lane early, and there are other warriors who also excel at that. I still don't think that Chalk is necessarily the best pick in any given situation, but it's never an awful pick, and you got to give him at least that. LG is looking for something safe in that solo lane. And Kumbhakarna, who would have thought that in Season 4, Fall Split, we would have seen Raijin Kumbhakarna be picked on the same roster?
Certainly not me. I would have been sleeping on it. But one thing I can say about ALG's roster, everybody on their team does damage, it seems like. Even Kumbhakarna can hit you kind of hard, too. So that might be ALG's plan. Do you think they're going for early aggression here based on this pick?
I mean, ALG has been the early game team in Season 4. That's kind of been, oh, it's because Aquarius gets to play the new 6 skin. That's why. That's Chalk the best pick whenever you can use Stormcall Chalk.
That skin is sick. We're not joking. That skin is very nice. I like it a lot.
It makes sense to me now. And all jokes aside, the reason we see Kumbhakarna on the side of Allegiance is because there's a lot of stuff that you want to interrupt as Neil Ma, but the blink forward into the root onto Aquarius here, starting to get off.
And Neruma jumps in and they get the slow off onto Aquarius. It was brutal. No way for him to get out of there, and Weekend secures, ends up getting credit for that early kill. 5-man grouping from ALG over here.
No, the Chalk skin that says brutal is the murderer one, not that one.
Great kill there
This
for
is
ALG.
what it's like casting with me.
getting used to it, I guess, here. But that is a great win there for ALG in the early game, already putting one down on Aquarius there. So that's going to be a big advantage for our solo lane nemesis that we're seeing out of Cyclone Spin. We didn't even get a chance to talk about it because ALG came out and bodied Aquarius so fast.
So I've heard rumblings of this solo nemesis. Zalia did it once back. I believe that was Season 2 that he was pulling that out. And now that there was a little bit of a power shift with Nemesis, a little bit more power onto the slicing dice, a little bit less off the ultimate, I've been hearing rumblings that, you know, she clears well enough now and she bodies warriors in the 1v1. That's her whole design, is to body warriors in a 1v1. So Cyclone gonna try and pull it out. And if there's anyone who can make a solo lane assassin work, it's Cyclone Spin. I mean, this guy made his name for himself playing assassins in that solo lane and bodying people in the 1v1. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, we got to see some excellent play from Cyclone Spin back there, like on the Bakasuras and the like, coming in and wrecking up team fights. But it looked like ALG started off on the wave, so now they're going back and clearing up those buffs. They're on the right-hand side, at least, on that side. Barracuda, though, this time is joined by Jeff Hindla, and looks like Matt Yankee's still alone over here. Not a big deal for Medusa, though. That clears pretty nuts.
Matt Yankee going to decide that he doesn't want any part of that wave. He learned his lesson from last game. Instead, going to the back Harpies on the left-hand side. That's going to be a lot of missed farm. I think that's just one of those situations where he's waiting until Neilma has the opportunity to come over and help him clear like he did in Game 1.
And again, he got punished for it, so I don't blame him for doing that. Aquarius, though, being aggressive with that dash, does go back in, but Mask is right there for him to punish, weaken, and deter any more aggression. And that axe throw was chunking just now, hitting for good damage.
Already over 100 damage on that Chalk axe, and that's what a Chalk does best. Cyclone very, very low in that solo lane, but Weaken trying to go in and put some damage onto Mask as well. Both end up escaping with very low HP, and this is the reason why you pick Chalk. If you want to win the wave between levels 1 and 3, that's where Chalk is going to do more for you than just about any other warrior.
Even after giving up First Blood, by the way.
Yes.
So you can win your lane and have Camazotz and Nemesis under tower.
Giving First Blood before minion spawn is the least impactful First Blood you can ever give.
There's nothing on the map to take.
Exactly.
Or, yeah.
You're not losing anything. You're going to be able to get back in time. As long as that's the case, you really don't have to worry about that too much. Only exceptions are things like Kali, if you were her target, and Gibalanke getting a passive stack. Other than that, if someone on my team gives up First Blood before minion spawn, number one, I'm like, really? And number two, whatever. You know, it's not that big of a deal.
Oracle's already taken over here on the left-hand side, but it's Fire Elementals that are going to be the ones to spawn up here next. And Luminosity are being dirty over here on this left-hand side, stalling this wave the best they can, trying to keep any kind of farm for Met Yankee as low as possible, and this time not on something like a late game Chronos that'll still be able to do damage. I mean, Medusa kind of wants to do that work through the mid to early game. This
is really punishing for Met Yankee because he has to go to back Harpies again, and look at this wave that's built up for Allegiance. So this is going to just murder Luminosity's wave right by the tower line. This is an LG just freezing a wave in the middle of the lane. Look at how far up Met Yankee and Neilma have to come to try and farm this up.
And that's what you get from a dual lane like Barracuda and Jeff Hindla. They've literally been playing the game forever, but Thor up in the air and crashing down on the Met Yankee. Wall separates Nehru Ma, and with the team on this side of it, he's able to get a stun out. So much CC in that kit, but he gets taken down into that sleepy form passive. And that's it for Nehru Ma. Excellent gank there from Mask.
Mask, that is textbook Thor. You dunk down, you get the beads from the carry, then you wall off the support and get the kill onto them. Neilma did get 2 sets of beads there from both Mask and Barracuda with the Mesmerize, but still a kill for Luminosity.
And this is where Luminosity's going to take that advantage that they got over there on that left-hand side and start putting it onto the map. They're not actually able to take away that red buff, but expending that pressure here around that left-hand side. It's very, very similar to what we saw on the left-hand side, where Luminosity has the aggression on the left and then ALG had it on the right. But thanks to Aquarius on this Chalk, it's actually Luminosity with the pressure on the right-hand side too. Could that be part of why they take the Chalk?
Well, yes, you're trying to get pressure there. You're not trying to have that situation that you had in game number 1, but against Camazotz and Nemesis, that situation's already going to be a lot better for you if you're Luminosity because of the draft that Allegiance has put through. ALG is going to have pressure in the mid lane. That's where their real clear advantage is. Raijin, some of the best mage clear in the game, up against a Morrigan who really does take a while to be able to full clear that wave with Dark Omen. So this is where Allegiance should have their pressure, and that's why Neilma spent so much time in this mid lane. Is if Oceans has pressure and Neilma's hanging around with Oceans, that means Neilma has pressure, and so those two can kind of roam around and set up Allegiance elsewhere on the map.
Right now, the kills are 1-1, and despite that first gold bounty going the way of ALG, Luminosity do have a little bit of a lead here, like about 150. It's not really much to write home about, but it does show that they haven't normalized the little bit that they gave up there earlier. But the experience lead is at 1,700. That's actually a pretty big deal here at 5 minutes.
And that's mostly on to Met Yankee in that duo lane, down over 100 XP per minute. Neoma's also had some struggles getting some XP, but still sitting at level 5, so not too far behind of where Jeff Hinla is on the Terra. Duo lane for Allegiance with their different start from where Luminosity is going, struggling a little bit.
Allegiance came over here to try and pick up those oracles, but they only get one. They're forced to back off after a rotation from Baskin and Mask over here. Baskin going very aggressive, going in and getting the stun out, but Neyrima able to force out the beads and then get a return stun. So good damage came out from Oceans. Met Yankee's ultimate force out as well, and Mask up in the air. He comes down to the back line of it. Mask able up in the air, put a bunch of damage down, but it's Baskin who gets credited for a double kill here and then turns into, or rather he was actually the one that was Camazot's.
Weekend just trying to put in some damage. Baskin looks like he is way out of position by the red buff, but when you've got a Terra and a Thor on your team, it's pretty tough to be out of position. Baskin is baiting himself there and does a beautiful job of it. Allegiance recognizes that it's a bait. They don't take it necessarily, but it just makes them hesitate enough to guarantee Mask getting a nice double dunk on the backside. Met Yankee definitely the target that he wants to dunk in that scenario because the purification beads still just down from that gank on the left-hand side earlier on. Good team play from Luminosity.
And 2 quick kills from them there do take the kill lead to 3-1. Now they're up more like 1,000 to 1,100 gold. So they've been able to push this lead out a good bit just thanks to that smart play on the left-hand side. One more time, those were ALG's back harpies that they were fighting at just now. So very deep in that back line, but once again playing their team comp expertly in that engagement.
And they've got that 3-1 lead again. The first kill and the only kill so far for ALG was before the minions even spawned. Cyclone Spin is going to be able to make a much bigger impact in the late game compared to Aquarius on Chalk, though. So Allegiance, while they might be lacking the Chronos that they had in Game 1 as far as late game damage, Cyclone Spin can make that up. So it's just a matter of getting there for ALG. And the fact that Cyclone has stayed safe on that right-hand side, hasn't died, has been continuing to get as much farm as he can. He's just behind Aquarius in XP per minute, top of his own team. That's a good look for them.
And Met Yankees at least brought it down to where it's just a level or so. We saw them both level up about the same time, worth the difference there between the two of them over there on that duo lane side. So that's very important for Met Yankee, trying to stay somewhat at parity here on that left-hand side. We do see most of the buffs there on that right-hand side taken. Speed and Blue did just come up for ALG, so that's why we see Luminosity coming over here to see what they can do to try and slow down some of this farm on the right-hand side. But it looks like ALG have recognized that that's what's happened here.
They got that ward right on top of where Aquarius is. Aquarius going to stay here and take the 2v1, but there comes the Nemesis ultimate. Big damage, but bigger on a Cyclone Spin. Mask couldn't find the TP in. Cyclone's going to be able to escape.
Yeah, that wall did keep Cyclone Spin away from the engagement. It actually separates him out. Like you said, that hammer might have been a little bit inside the wall there, so he couldn't teleport into the backside of it. But Mask still looking for some aggression over here on this right-hand side onto Neyrima.
Big damage onto Weekend, but the double tap a little bit off the mark. Just able to skirt away from it, but with how many members of Luminosity here on this right side of the map, it's going to be an easy blue buff invade, and I like the adjustment from Luminosity. They recognize that Cyclone Spin is going to become a problem eventually, so it's time to put them down a little bit while they still can in the early game.
And it's almost tough here to call an adjustment. If you can win at every spot on the map every game, I'm sure that'd be ideal. So this game, they have some pressure on this right-hand side too, also taking away that blue buff from them over there. So the initial engage, even though they don't get any kills, they do force Cyclone Spin back, and they're able to take that kill there in that middle lane here. Just coming back, getting some farm. And that backhand side is Aquarius.
And I'd like to see Mask go over to that right side again and gank Cyclone Spin, because Cyclone is still an assassin who doesn't have any purification beads. And anytime you're playing Thor, you're going to be looking to find him with that dunk as often as possible. This is the time to kill him before he has that Gladiator shield finished, and you can not worry about any protections for him.
Barracuda gets a nice ricochet off on the Neyrima there as the Oracles spawn. Allegiance do take them And that's why I think we see Barracuda, Jeff Hinla and Baskin go so aggressive. They recognize that he was low, but he gets out safely there. But Luminosity, recognizing the back, do the Gold Fury underneath the Oracle Vision for ALG, so they have to know this is happening. And we do see that Nerima and Oceans are coming on in to try and contest it, and LG have to back off.
They still don't have the objective burn that they had in Game 1, however. They were able to burn it down despite the Oracle Vision in Game 1. Not nearly as much objective damage with the Morrigan compared to the Soul that Baskin was piloting last game. So wise choice from Luminosity. See if Allegiance is going to overreact. See if they're going to commit to try and stop this. Allegiance makes the right call of just sitting and waiting, knowing the Luminosity's lacking objective damage, and Luminosity decides that they'd rather spend their time farming than wasting it.
We've seen several objectives taken this game here, almost that exact situation on the, catching several people from the other team, backing and knowing there's no one around to contest it when they go for the objective.
Nice
Perhaps
wall.
what ALG wanted here, as Aquarius gets the stun off on the Cyclone Spin, separated from his tower. He does put the ultimate onto Aquarius, and that slow is potent enough to give him the space he needs to come back around to his side. So Cyclone Spin getting out, but his ult is down.
Such a smart dash from Cyclone Spin. Got the first part blocked off by Mask's wall, and now Mask might be in a little bit of trouble, but he's looking for it right into the ultimate to give him some CC immunity. Terra's Blessing popped as Baskin starts to make that rotation. Mask gonna look for the speed buff, dunk it on weakened speed.
Now it looks like ALG want to have a fight over there in that jungle, as well as Barracuda is under some pressure on the right-hand side. Baskin does clean up Oceans here. Speed buff still remaining, though, as Jeff Hinla gets a not two-man stun, but actually Nerima does, and he's trying to get out of there.
Baskin still there, full HP, nice stun. With that 3 aspects, Baskin still has the ultimate available. Never used it in that engagement. A little bit surprised to see that, but Luminosity, despite not needing Baskin's ult, they find the speed buff invade successfully. Oh, that's a good day for Jeff Hinla. He got a blue buff earlier, now a speed buff? He's used to just lonely little purple buff. Those are way better.
Yeah, come on, guys. Don't give it to the supports. They're going to all start expecting it now. But they are able to take that speed buff over there, thanks to the hand of the gods from Aquarius, just in case Weekend wanted to try and put some poke in there and contest it. So now they're able to come over here and take this blue buff, too. And they've done such a good job of this all game, has Luminosity just controlling this jungle of ALG over here on the solo lane side.
Aquarius knows this isn't a boxing fight he wants to take, but Mask is coming, and again, this wall perfectly placed by Mask. His Thor has really come a long way. It was never bad, but it wasn't one of those top-tier Thors, the Andenster, the Homie, the Adapting, those guys who really just put on a clinic every single time they play the character. Mask looking really, really clean on it in this game.
Those walls have done a great job of separating out team fights, and it looks like Luminosity separate from those Oracle, or not Oracles, but Harpies, as they do go in favor of Allegiance. But big poke, actually, from Mask, taking Oceans down to about half health there just with that hammer toss. So he's doing tons of damage.
And Heartseeker, a great item on Thor because of that poke damage. It's if hammer didn't hurt mid laners enough, you can basically almost one-shot someone, put them down to about half or even lower at times whenever you have that hammer maxed out and get some penetration going. And yes, that is speaking from experience, and I'm scared of them.
Yeah, hard to believe that you're speaking to the plight of mid laners here, aggro.
Yeah.
As you do see a bit of an exchange from Barracuda and Med Yankee. Barracuda feeling like committing that ultimate there, which I don't think is a bad call. Just make sure that there's no more aggression here. But there's a big rotation from the rest of LG coming on over here too. Mask up into the air. Baskin and Jeff Hinla coming in. Mask lands on the backside to try and cut off the engagement. Uses the ultimate, does Med Yankee for CC immunity, but ends up getting stunned out by Terra. Aegis Force as well, and Mask does eventually end up falling, but Baskin gets the kill onto Med Yankee.
Baskin gonna have to start to run because here comes a rotation in response from Allegiance. Neilma just sitting, waiting. He blinks forward, finds one with the ult and 2 with the mess.
Not any kind of follow-up coming out just yet, but now comes Ocean jumping in, trying to get the ultimate out, but immediately gets blown up by Barracuda. Baskin also takes down Weekend here in this engagement. Nerima putting at the root there to try and create some space, but he walks back in, recognizing Cyclone Spins here and is going to need some form of assistance. He dashes back out, Barracuda up in the air, avoiding any damage. Ultimate coming down though from Aquarius is enough to make sure they secure Cyclone Spin.
3 kills, 4 if you count the one that started it all for Met Yankee. Mask and him had both the respawn, but Luminosity do such a good job of just handling Allegiance as they come in one by one, and that's the problem for Allegiance.
Yes.
That was a conveyor belt from them, just just feeding it up to Luminosity one by one. And LG is playing as a team better than ALG is in this game. That was the real difference in game 1 in my mind, and again in game 2. Baskin is also just he's sick. I mean, he's 6-0-1 right now. That transformation in Nemesis, the perfect option in that scenario. Having 9 gods ultimates at your fingertips and finding the perfect one in every situation is not an easy task to handle, but he did it right there. Oceans is completely alone. He's up at his ultimate. No one's looking at him. So Baskin just transforms into Nemesis, strips away all his protections, a big chunk of health, and then insta-kills him, basically, with the slice and dice. Really, really well played from Luminosity, leads to the Gold Fury as well.
Luminosity, big team fight, leads to 8-2 is the killed lead. About 4.5K now is the gold lead as well. One of those gold leads now that starts to give Luminosity some control here in this game. Experience also at about 7,000 here at this point. And like you said, Gold Fury was taken at the end of that engagement too. Barracuda played it perfectly. It felt like from the beginning. Remember, it was him and met Yankee at the very outset of it, and he knew his rotation was coming over from half his team, and they ended up playing it perfectly. But just excellent from Luminosity.
Also, Mask's ultimate looked way off the mark there, but I'm pretty sure that was intentional. He landed way in the back to cut off the escape from Met Yankee. Was planning on using the wall, but ended up using his face to block the lacerate, which ends up in him dying, but unintentionally, but really smart.
Blink in onto Baskin here, knocked up by Neruma. Lots of damage coming out from Raija in the back line. They do take down Baskin, but Mask lands in on Oceans. Not able to get a kill there as Oceans does escape, but the hammer going through doing so much damage to Cyclone Spin, not on his normal tanky warriors, and he gets caught out here in that mid lane jungle.
Mask in a lot of trouble. Big damage from that spin to win, but weakens the one winning with those vampiric bats. Quick 2-for-1 as Barracuda makes the rotation just off that mark with the ricochet, but the ultimate's gonna land, and Barra should be able to claim this one for himself.
Yeah, recognizing that Nerima was too low, he does end up catching him there in that jungle. Overall, that fight does end up being, it looks like a 2-for-2 here. So that one is, but it looks like in favor here of Luminosity. They still got a strong Barracuda hanging around the mid lane, looking to see what he can take, and I think it's the Oracles.
Baskin does end up falling for his first death, though, so I believe it was Oceans who got that kill, gets a pretty big bounty from it, and as I mentioned, it's a little hard to be out of position whenever you've got a Thor and a Terra on your team. Baskin was out of position there, gets caught out by the Blink ultimate. Jeff and Bask still come to the rescue, but still not quite in time.
And take a look there, because I know you're mentioning how well Baskin's been doing so far. Going for that double pen, looks like back-to-back. Spear of Desolation into that Obsidian Shard there, or very likely they're going to be the Obsidian Shard as well. So he's going to continue to hit like a truck here, or a bag full of trucks aggro. That was not a mistake.
No, I've actually heard that phrase before.
Yeah,
I was with you there. Hindu, just because he's talking about tea and crumpets all the time where he comes from, doesn't mean that he gets to judge our phrases, you know?
That's exactly right there. So making sure that he can get that penetration online will be very strong here for Baskin. Luminosity now up 10-4 here are the kills. After that last trade was even kill-wise, but as you said, Baskin worth a lot here at this point in the game. So Portal Demon is up on the right-hand side, and that's going to be a good spot to look at here next for our next fight, as nothing here on the left-hand side is up.
The double penetration, I don't mind from Baskin. It's tough to do too much pen as Barracuda. A lot of pressure on this left-hand side. Weaken blinks forward. Nicely timed Aegis gets him out of that Petrify and the 2. Good damage on the Met, but still a 2v1. Barra not going to be able to find it. Did get 2 ultimates there between Weaken and Met Yankee. And here comes Baskin, Mask, and Jeff Hinla on the Terra.
He at least forced him to commit a lot to the fight, but now Aquarius looks to be in a lot of trouble. Gets knocked up, and then Raijin goes up into his ultimate as well to return the damage, but Mask comes in to try and keep Raijin from doing any kind of damage there, and it is enough to at least force him back, but now here in the back line is Baskin. He dived in with that ultimate and cleans up Oceans. Nice job.
Still can't find the second one, though, as the Dark Omen a little bit off the mark. Baskin going pretty deep. 2 Thors is pretty tough to handle, and Allegiance do as best they can. They lose 1, but pick up Baskin in response, so a 2-for-1 in mid as Met Yankee able to find the tier 1 tower despite Jeff Hinla doing his best to deny him.
And I don't know if there's been a fight yet where the kill numbers at least were in favor of ALG. That one is a 1-for-2 in their favor, so finally getting a team fight to go their way. And that's going to be big for them here as they try and find their way back into it here. Looking like only about a 5,000 gold lead for Luminosity, so certainly still something that you can fight back into. Rather 3,500, even more manageable here after getting those kills.
I really think that I would have preferred to see Oceans on something a little bit more instant burst oriented. Anytime I see Kumbhakarna, I just want a raw ult waiting for him whenever they land, a Thoth ult, something like that. Raijin's so good at clear, so good at team fight control with that ultimate, but it just doesn't bring that oomph that you really want with a Kumbhakarna ultimate. And there's a big reason why. I mean, Aquarius comes down about half HP, but even with Oceans up in the ultimate, can't burst him down before he takes a big chunk of damage in that Tycho drums. These two gods, I think Kumbhakarna is really underrated as a whole as a Guardian. Raijin starting to get some love that I think is well-deserved, but together, not sure that's the best combination for ALG.
And that problem is exacerbated for Oceans, as they do have not just Mask on the Thor, but Baskin, who could turn into a second Thor at any time. So very easy to interrupt as Luminosity take not only the Oracles, but start up the Gold Fury here as well. Oceans' ultimate comes out very early here in the engagement, and Mask is up into the Thor ult on the back line as well. Look for him to come crashing down, and he does onto Weaken, who's forced into his ultimate to try and get to safety.
Baskin still has not made his transformation, and Mask being the only one poked out can just be healed by Jeff Hindla's Monolith. So Barracuda right back to this Gold Fury, try and secure it, while Baskin's the one frontlining here.
Baskin up there trying to do what he can to make this team fight happen. Aquarius comes in with his ultimate, but Met Yankee uses his own to grant him some CC immunity and still drops down to Baskin at the back end of that team fight. So now they're heading back to the Gold Fury is LG now that it's a 1-for-0.
Jeff still here with that Monolith, and Aquarius pretty healthy as well. They're going to be the frontliners. Only Neilma has that ultimate, can use it to kind of reset this Gold Fury, but big poke on a Weaken, who doesn't have an ultimate this time. Barra just misses the ricochet, but Aquarius going to clean it up with the axe throw. Luminosity, this ward coverage really paying off for them. 50 gold just netted them a kill on a Weaken.
And this is what we saw them do so well last game, as the Gold Fury comes down below half health. And I don't even have a chance to talk about it because Aquarius is doing so much damage in the back line here. Wu Yi ultimate does come out from Barracuda to help secure the Gold Fury, and now Cyclone's been just trying to contest, gets caught out as well. So overall, I think it's 4 kills overall, or 3 in favor there of Luminosity and the Gold Fury.
So before it was Allegiance just kind of going in one by one, just making the wrong place in that sort of sense. There, Cyclone goes in alone at the end of the team fight intentionally. He's saying this game is starting to get out of hand. If LG secures this Gold Fury, we're probably going to end up losing because of the lead they'll get. I'm willing to risk throwing away my life. I'm going to throw away my life either way, but to try and steal away the Gold Fury, and I've got no problem with that. 5,000, 6,000 gold at 21 minutes is territory to try and throw away your life for a Gold Fury. Didn't end up working out for him, though.
Matt Yankee taking a lot of damage very quickly, but Neruma comes in one more time with that knock-up to keep Mask out of the team fight and let Matt Yankee get out of there. Now LG coming back over here to the Portal Demon, daring ALG to come back in and try and have an engagement. This is what they did so well at the Fire Giant last game. If you come in and contest our objective, then we'll take you back out, and we have the shot calling to come off, make the kill, come back and take the objective later, and they do get that Portal Demon.
And again, it's Aquarius just standing as that big body right in front of all of Allegiance, saying, if you want it, come get it, but you're going to eat a lot of damage by coming for it. 3-1-4 on the Chalk, 3rd on the player damage charts. I know I'm pretty critical of Chalk a lot, but it's working out here. You can't deny the success that Aquarius is having.
Yeah, if you can play it like Aquarius can, then yeah, go ahead and put Chalk in your games here, because he's making it work out very well, but not to understate the importance that Baskin has had here in this game as well. 8-2-1, top of the player damage charts here right now. He's been just rolling through these team fights as Met Yankee gets caught out over here by Jeff Hindla one more time. His ultimate comes out again, but Mass drops in on the back of him, and he gets cleaned up very quickly here by Baskin.
That was actually a sick play by Met Yankee. He heard the stun charge up sound and actually turned around and stunned out Baskin.
Did he blink into the hammer from Aquarius?
I think he did.
What?
I think he did. That sucks.
That's too bad there for Oceans. He makes the right play, gets out of one damage into the other one. VBGT there, because it's just too bad as the mid lane towers fall, and so does this tier 2 in mid lane as well. And Aquarius, of course, knows exactly what the distance is on Raijin dash.
Yeah,
exactly, right?
read him like a book.
Yeah.
Cyclone and Baskin doing the Nemesis 1v1 in the competitive, because Baskin can transform into Nemesis. Cyclone has a double dash, holds his a little bit longer, but look at where Aquarius and Jeff Hindla are.
That's exactly what Baskin recognized, that Jeff Hindla and Baskin would be there to come around the back end of this fight here, but Cyclone spin. Tier 1 tower is shooting out some damage, but it's definitely not going to be enough. Tier 1 falls down, but Cyclone spins almost out. Mass gets him with that hammer. Very good job chasing that one down, and they're looking to go for this tier 2 as well.
Weaken was lurking in the jungle, but against 5 strong members of LG, the Legion's jungler decides that's not the fight for him. Now starts to come in because Neilma's going to blink forward, get the beads out of Baskin. but Weekend looking for him on the backside. Neoma hits the ultimate, but look at everyone else. ALG's Oceans and Met Yankee so far back.
It was an amazing engagement there by Neyrima and Weekend, but Aquarius keeps 3 members out of the team fight on the back end. That's why that team fight goes so in favor of LG. They do take this tier 2 tower over here on the left-hand side. Neyrima and Mask, I feel like, did the right thing, or Neyrima and Weekend, rather, but just better play from Aquarius.
That's exactly what I was talking about in game 1 that he was doing. It makes it so your damage dealers don't have to worry that much. Yeah, it's going to hurt whenever Weekend and Neoma blink on you, but not as much as if Oceans is able to use his ultimate offensively instead of defensively. Met Yankee never gets a chance to throw that gaze out because he's zoned so far back by Aquarius, and this is what you have to do as Chalk. You have to get a big lead and then be the unkillable bully, and that's what Aquarius has done so far this game.
He's level 20!
Yeah.
He's level 20!
The only one even close. Met Yankee's level 18, Bear's level 19, but so he's got at least a 2-level lead on everyone on the side of Allegiance. What is Oceans gonna do? He's 6 levels down. Yeah, he's got Spear of the Magus, sick. Chalk doesn't care. Like, Oceans is a fly to Aquarius right now.
And there's no way for ALG to contest this Fire Giant, actually making the call intentionally that we can. They're going for the tier 2 over here on the left-hand side. That Fire Giant does end up getting taken down, but ALG are going to essentially do sort of a race. They're going over here to the tier 2 on the right-hand side to pull that one, and this kind of is the best ALG can do right now.
I like this call from Allegiance. No chance they can defend even this tier 2. Give it up, try and get the left tier 2, which they do, and maybe even get the Phoenix. 2 members back here. It's only Basket and Barra. Now everyone else from LG's on the way back.
Barracuda does commit the ultimate here, and that's enough to force them to back off. Baskin was rotating around the back line, looking to blow him up with that double pin build. Mask was up in the air as well, and he does end up stunning out Oceans, and he couldn't even walk through. He had to use the jump. So Baskin turns into Thor, so he can go up and very likely crash in onto Oceans, and he cleans up that kill, and it perfectly separates Neyrima. Perfect wall one more time there, and that wasn't even Mask. That was Basket. Right? Yeah.
See Mask, Thor walls aren't that hard. Even I can do it.
Excellent play there from Baskin, and that's why Morgan has such a high skill cap. It's not just being able to turn into Thor and then land on a low health target. It's being able to instantly 180 around and then drop a perfect wall to separate the immobile Neyrima so your team can blow him up. That was excellent play from Baskin.
If anyone at home forgot that Baskin is a mechanical god, then there's your reminder for today. I mean, he killed it in game 1 on the Soul. He's killing it here on the Morgan. The Morgan having top damage is not a thing that you should really be seeing often.
Matt Yankee deletes Mask with a strong ultimate, even gets the stun out onto Baskin. That Phoenix on the left-hand side does fall, and the sprint's committed here to try and get the disengage so that they only lose Mask here.
Really good communication between Barra and
Weekend,
Jeff.
though, on the back line, waiting for them to come in. He is able to get a bunch of damage out onto Baskin, but gets immediately deleted there. Barracuda getting credit for that kill. Now Aquarius is the one dropping his ultimate to keep Oceans from launching any more abilities, at least for a little while.
Oceans has to use the Aegis as well. Barra's back, and he's doing the damage. Oceans up into the Tycho drums as Neoma handles Baskin on the backside, but not going to be enough because here comes Baskin around the back. Aquarius gets the credit for the kill onto Oceans as Met Yankee is just trying to buy Allegiance some time.
Baskin also able to take out Cyclone's
body block.
Good pillar there from Jeff Hilla, who starts the back, and he's laughing all the way home. Baskin also cleans up Neyrima, and then Met Yankee also gets the lead. That's actually a full Dia-side team wipe coming out in favor of LG, and now it's just Baskin and Aquarius there in the Titan room to start smacking it down. No towers up here on the map either, so that Titan is low enough where these two can start taking it down and wait for LG to help.
But Weekend has respawned, but Baskin's gonna transform into Barracuda. He already showed Mask how to play Thor. Now he's trying to show Barra how to play Hu Yi, and he's gonna get the job done because, of course, he is. LG, no one has ever questioned if LG can